Just why do people like Oz so much? Hey y'all, it's me, back with another video. Some people might be a bit surprised to see a video game up on this channel. After all, my last few videos have been on real people, but aesthetics don't just end in reality, they also stretch in the fiction. A lot of our inspiration for outfits, our wildest ideas, can come from literature and other media. And today we're going to be looking into one of my new favorite bits of media, Monster Prom. Monster Prom is this super fun dating sim where you can simulate trying to find a date for the prom in Monster High School. The game doesn't take itself seriously at all. One second you're trying to slip cocaine into the prom punch, and the next second you're trying to pass a corpse off as an accessory, which is admittedly not the first time I've tried to do that, but the first time I've gotten points for it. It's fun, it's outrageous, it's my new favorite game. Of course, a huge part of that is the lively storytelling, the twist, and all the alternative sort of mini stories you can go on. And equally as a big part is the aesthetics, or the way the characters are designed. Design isn't just look, though that is a big part of it, which is why we'll be looking into why look and writing, which is also a huge part of the aesthetics, who a character is, who they're supposed to be, and then relate that to why Oz is the most popular character. Today, I'll be borrowing footage from What's Biff, who is a great gaming channel that you should seriously check out. He deserves way more to subscribers, and he has very generously offered his fans to use his footage in other things, and I'm going to use it in my review today. What better place is there to start than meeting the main interests?
All right! And we had yet to experience its ultimate challenge, the Monster Prom. I remember it clearly. 3 weeks were left, and as we fantasized about our dream prom dates, we were all scrambling to catch the attention of one of our 6 most charismatic classmates. Ooh! Miranda Vanderbilt, 19, a sweet mermaid princess who was as cute as she was genocidal. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, all of our potential dates are absolutely horrible people, apparently. That's the only other thing I know about this game, is that none of them will have... Well, they might have positive redeeming qualities, but none of them will be, overall, good people. So, let's get terrible. Let's do some crazy, weird, terrible, bad things. Damien LeVay, 21, a fearless demon with a taste for destruction and a love for fire. Scott Howell, 21, a werewolf athlete who compensated for his rather small brain with a stupidly huge heart. Oh, what a great guy. Liam de Lioncourt, 400 and something years old, a hipster vampire whose standoffish demeanor hid that he was truly a lovable dork.
Yay!
Polly Geist, 22 perhaps, a party ghost with an insatiable hunger for all the wrong things. And Vera Oberlin, 23, a mean self-made gorgon with a merciless sense of business.
Now, one of the reasons I use What's Biff's intro is because it's perfect. But really, one of the reasons I used it is because he left in one very important detail, which is that all these people are terrible, except for Scott. I'm not so sure what Scott is supposed to do that's wrong besides eating people. I know for people who haven't played the game, that sounds like it's really bad, but it's really not in game. You have to play this to understand. Additionally, he mentions there are positive qualities that redeem them, or at least make them attractive enough that you want to ask them to prom. So let's look into why each character is different from the other, and what they're supposed to appeal to based on how they're designed, including their personality and their clothing. First up is Miranda Vanderbilt, a cute genocidal mermaid princess. Now, Miranda Vanderbilt is the only character in the game that's even remotely close to high school age, which makes sense because her aesthetic is based on her being young and cute. Playing through the game, Miranda was definitely one of the most entertaining characters to watch, mostly because in her bid to become prom princess, she killed Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I'm not even joking. The genocidal part of her comes together with the cute side of her, at least visually in her character design. Miranda Vanderbilt has this very Disney-esque design, where it looks like they ripped the eyes out of a puppy's skull and then just stole hair from a bunch of people and dyed it pink. She has a very roundish sort of chest with a smaller waist, and she has very few jagged edges, excluding her elbows. Now, when it comes to looking at Miranda Vanderbilt as a whole, the big eyes and the small face sort of makes her look young because it reminds you of a toddler coming up to you with like these very big doe eyes and an underdeveloped body, by which I mean they don't have very big features, they're not tall yet, they don't have broad shoulders, yada yada yada. It reminds you of youth, which is why it's cute. Now, when you get to the elbows, it looks like she glued some knives to her arms for some goddamn reason. These still manage to be fitting because they are fins, and if you don't remember, Miranda is a mermaid princess. Speaking of princess, it's very fitting that the only other prominent jagged edge is her crown. Having her crown and her weird Wolfgang Puck arms related in sharpness reminds you that the danger of her character comes from her power as a princess. Most of the horrible things Miranda gets away with in the game are things that she does at home in her kingdom, using her power as a princess to abuse her subjects, or sort of using her monarchical power in school to do awful things to other people, which is what makes her a terrible person that you want to date. All of this comes wrapped up in a very simple, cute blue dress, which matches her equally as cute blue eyes. This reminds us that the majority of Miranda's character appeal comes from a very feminine version of cute. I just want to tell anyone who's looking to sort of emulate this style that a big part of pulling off a cute look is the face. Instead of focusing on flashy clothes, which the character artist did not do here, focus on doing things like making your eyes big and making your hair big. Anything that sort of makes your face look sort of small, which is key to pulling off this sort of aesthetic. We're going to be skipping Damien because I'm actually planning on a video for him later on in the week. I believe my boyfriend deserves a special spotlight. I'm also leaving out the best boy, Scott. I'm gonna dive into Liam because I hate his aesthetic and he can go fuck himself. The thing that is so ironic about Liam, and I bet he would love that irony, is that his aesthetic isn't really that original at all, and it's the thing that he wants to be original the most. I'm sorry if it's getting a little hard to understand me, but if for me, Liam is one of the funniest characters in the game, and it's not even on purpose. Liam fills the slot of a very hipster vampire who wants to like things other people don't like. He was cool before it was cool. He hates the mainstream, yada yada yada. Now, I don't exactly hate this sort of style in real life. I believe that someone can have very valid reasons for having this sort of opinion. I can see how someone can get very tired of a certain sort of genre, and for the most part, I found hipsters to actually be really interesting, if not occasionally condescending and irritating. The thing about Liam that I don't like is that he, despite saying that he's super creative and original, he doesn't actually go through that many variations in the game when it comes to aesthetic and costume. He sort of stays in the same clothing, and I feel like that sort of defeats the point of his aesthetic. Like, don't get it twisted. I don't expect the character creators to make something new for him in every single panel. I just think it's like especially ironic that like the one guy who's trying to stand out wears the plainest clothes and probably the least amount of color variation. To be fair, his basic color palette isn't that bad. He has this very, very pretty sort of purple and yellow color palette, which sort of comes from black and yellow, only it's a little more interesting because purple has a bunch of different hues, so you can sort of create a bit of difference between his face, his hair, and his suspenders. His bow tie adds the quirkiness to his personality that his character is supposed to represent, someone who wants to project quirkiness, but it's juxtaposed by his glasses, which are very square. In another video, I sort of went through how different glasses can mean different things based on how based on how they're sort of presented in movies and TV and how we sort of associate different character types to different frames. Anyone who wears glasses is considered smart or clever, but rounder glasses tend towards the more creative or inquisitive, things that we consider more positive character traits. Meanwhile, something that's more square has more edges, and we're reminded of characters that may be more critical or more logical. The fact that Liam is wearing these very square glasses next to his bow tie sort of shows that he's like, oh, I want people to think I'm quirky, but also I'm not really a light-hearted character. He has the very traditional hipster man bun, which also adds to the sort of stereotype that they're going towards, and that's about it for his character's design. A lot of Liam's personality comes through more with his character interactions. I say if you sort of want to embody this character for the day, maybe just go on little known websites. I know that sounds like a weird tip, but if you can go on Pinterest or another website like it and just search around for, like, oh, what are some really good websites that aren't that popular? Maybe start with a certain topic and branch out for, hey, do you have any resources for this? If it's a sort of social media based website where multiple users are contributing to it, you can usually find a bunch of topics that are sort of on the down low, things people haven't heard of. And maybe you can just study up on a bunch of cool things that you like that a lot of people do not know about. You also maybe want to take some lessons in critical thought. That way you can entertain yourself if there's nothing in your vicinity that entertains you. Learn to sort of take things apart. Funnily enough, I think this aesthetic is most useful when going up against people who have the same aesthetic. It's very useful in competitive environments where the competitiveness is based on creativity or analytics. Similarly, it is really good when you're just sort of having a day by yourself. You don't really have any plans to make and you want to have an interesting day while you're on your lonesome. It's really fun to think sort of like the hipster Liam embodies and maybe just go on a walk and observe the things around you and look it through that sort of eye. My point on Party Girls comes up again with Polly Geist. Polly Geist, the ghost to the right of Liam, is your stereotypical party girl character. Now you might say to yourself, but Alexandria, Polly has very square glasses. Actually, her glasses are round to the point where they're almost oval, which sort of mirrors her very carefree personality. This is further backed up by her ponytail, which allows for a lot of movement in game and in the events she sort of goes to, like music festivals and parties. Having layered clothing like she shows here is also very important for this sort of aesthetic. There are two reasons for this. Number one, having your clothes visible sort of mirrors the carefree style of this style. You don't care that your clothes are visible. Number two, for a lack of layman terms, draws attention to your boobs. The fact that you can see Polly's bra straps means that she hasn't really made an effort to hide her brasserie, and you can very obviously tell where it is. Polly makes a bunch of jokes about having different sorts of underwear in the game because she is, in short, a somewhat sexual character, and there is a very party girl-esseness to, like, hey everybody, look at what's under my top. Now, I'm not saying that every single person that goes to parties is like this, but is the sort of character archetype that Polly fills. She further layers her jewelry. In this photo, you can see her matching bangles and necklace. Now, Party Girl isn't exactly a super extravagant style, so I recommend keeping your jewelry simple as it is in this photo. Bangles, like the one on her arm, are very common, and a matching necklace like the heart-shaped locket she has is very cute. You can't tell in this picture, but Polly Geist also has a infamous pair of booty shorts with the pockets exposed. Having distressed bottoms is probably the quickest way to put together a party girl-esque outfit because, like having your layers exposed, it sort of shows that you don't really care about your clothes, which is sort of funny considering how much designers distressed clothes are these days, but we don't have time for that in depth of an analysis. That's way down the nonsense train. Finally, there is my wife who doesn't love me even though I love her, Vera Overland, a mean self-made Gargan with a merciless sense of business. Now, just like with the other characters I skipped over, I actually have a super special video planned for Vera and why people can be so attracted to the title Mean Girl of the game. But I think analyzing the few characters that I didn't have videos planned for has sort of given you an idea of the character design in Monster Prom, which means we can finally get to Oz.
Ooh, 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 we get to pick. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Who do I want? Oh, man, I like her. I like her. I like him because he's a zombie and he's got the green. I don't like zombies, but I like how he's got green. We got cool blank dude, the shadow guy over here, though. Ah, but she's wearing red and I like her jacket. Yeah, who do we pick? Who do we pick? Who do we pick? Who do we pick? Let's go with Shadow Guy, because I like being shadowy. Too bad there wasn't like a beast. I was really hoping that there would be like a beast character that we could pick, but let's go with orange shirt. Name, yellow. Name, yellow. Name is Beef. Name is Beef. Yes. Pronoun, is there a... I was hoping there'd be like a monster kind of theme here. But we'll just go with he. He works for me.
All right.
One very noticeable thing about Oz, and something that I agree with What's Biff on, is that he is a cool shadow guy. If you sort of pay attention to the other player characters, Oz is probably the most vague, at least when it comes to what exactly he is. Going from right to left, you have Vicky or Blue, who is obviously a Frankenstein character. Then you have Green or Brian, who is a sort of zombie. Then you have Amira or Red, who is some kind of fire elemental. And then there's Oz, who is Oz exactly? At this point in time, Oz is the most popular player character. When it comes to fan art, the love interests take the spotlight, but what little art there is of the player characters, Oz shows up the most. He's also the most popular character on AO, or Archive of Our Own, a site where you can make stories about your favorite series. He shows up the most in romance stories with the love interest, and he shows up the most in stories where he interacts with the other player characters. He's probably the most tagged character in that category. The fact that no one is very sure about what Oz is allows for a lot of headcanon. A lot of people picture him as some sort of shadowy creature, while a lot of others headcanon him as some sort of manifestation of fear. Being able to project a lot onto him makes him a huge favorite for people making up stuff about Monster Prom for fun, and I think a part of that is heavily related to mystique when it comes to aesthetic. People like it when there's a bit of mystery to a person. It means you get to speculate about their life, and a lot of times the things people come up on their own can turn out to be way more interesting than the truth. And I believe that's a really big part of the appeal to Oz's character. There is additionally the things that are there. Oz's main color and alternative name is yellow. Yellow is a very appealing, happy color, so we know whatever mysterious thing going on with Oz, it's not exactly negative. He has a very crisp white undershirt, which brings out the yellow in his cardigan, and also just goes towards making him look like a very neat, put-together person. The way his sleeves are rolled is very aesthetically pleasing with very clean, straight lines. And it also sort of magnifies the way he's holding up his hand. It's sort of awkward and hesitant, which matches his sort of voiceover in the game, and it sort of just makes him a cute character when paired with his eyes. The fact that Oz doesn't really have any pupils makes his eyes more noticeable, and it makes them bigger, and has the very same cute effect we see in Miranda. He has some cute, nice, crisp pants, which goes nicely into what I think are boots. There's a possibility there might be a shadow thing going on where his feet are consuming his clothes, but I personally headcanon that the dark boy is wearing cowboy boots. Having this sort of character, one who doesn't look like he has anything malicious going on, but is mysterious enough to project ideas onto, is great for fan fodder. You might not notice here, but he also has a watch in the photo, which further adds to his put-togetherness. If you want to sort of exemplify this look and sort of copy the popularity or try to get the same sort of popularity into your life, I recommend going for a sort of organized, quirky style like Oz has here. Do something similar with the cardigan, undershirt, and pants. Wear a sort of dressy attire and then match it with something a bit odd like cowboy boots or a scarf or weird gloves or quirky earrings. It makes you look put together while also maybe being secretly fun, who knows? If you really want to bite the bullet, go ahead and go for that really cute, short, choppy style. I've seen this with a lot of people, and having short, tousled hair also adds to this simultaneous, neat, but interesting style because you have something that can very easily maintained and help you look put together while also can be brushed into a style that looks a bit wild. Having windswept hair is very popular for a reason. This video is getting sort of long, so I'll just wrap it up here. I think this sort of aesthetic is based when you're attending a semi-formal function and you want to get some attention. It's formal enough that you show the host that you respect your function, you're not totally throwing the dress code out the window, but you have something a bit odd about you that'll make people want to come up and talk to you. It's like peacocking, but not obnoxious. I also find that it's really fun to wear casually. All you really need to do is get a undershirt and then wear it under a sweater or a cardigan. Having a very well ironed shirt under it helps get rid of wrinkles, which helps you look put together. Getting crisp pants, all that really takes is ironing pants really well and then folding them sort of sideways so you get a crease on the front of your pants. Things like cowboy boots and accessories can be found just about anywhere. Just remember not to get anything too flashy. If you want those big eyes, I recommend getting a white makeup pencil and going through with some makeup tutorials to make your eyes look bigger. If you're worried about cutting your hair short, there are always wigs, but as a girl who spends a couple of hours trying to comb through her afro, you might find getting the chop is a little more relaxing than you first think it is. If you want to check out the guy who I got this awesome footage for, check out the description. What's Biff is a great gaming channel that is very interesting to listen to. He's an awesome narrator. If you want to hear more stuff from me, there is my blog in the description and all the links to my social media. Hit me up for a chat sometime.